Welcome to Body Buddies, home of the Power Foods lifestyle. Take it one meal, one workout, one day at a time. And now, here's the founder of Body Buddies, Kristy Jo.
Hello, Body Buddies. I'm Kristy Jo, mind and body strategist. Welcome. We are here to talk about strategic nutrition, fitness, and mindset. And today, I am giving you an insider sneak peek to the membership site, Body Buddies World. If you would like to join and take advantage of the free 7-day trial to get exclusive access to my weekly live Q&A sessions, being able to ask a question anytime in our private Facebook group, have access to a great variety of meal plans for men and women in max fat loss, lifestyle change, and aesthetics, as well as workout plans for home or gym and recipes that are not in volumes 1, 2, or 3, you definitely need to be in Body Buddies World. Go to bodybuddiesworld.com. So the price after your 7-day trial is $34.99, which, let's think about that. It's only half the cost of spending 1 hour with a personal trainer. That is a sick deal. To be able to ask a question anytime and have me answer thoroughly within 24 hours is pretty awesome. So I'm giving you a sneak peek of our live Q&A. This happened at the end of 2016. So some of the questions I will be covering in detail include the following. How much cardio is too much? What if I'm getting hungry before the 2.5 to 3 hour mark? Is there anything wrong with full body workouts? Which muscle is the most important to train for runners? Are there any cutting supplements that I should be taking to help with my fat loss? How do you know how much you should lift? And last, how do you have a strong mindset when others aren't eating strategically around you? I'm excited to provide you the answers to these questions, help you think a little bit deeper. If you have not yet read my book, The Power Foods Lifestyle, you need to start there. Go to powerfoodslifestyle.com and you can get a free copy. That's for people who are in the United States only. If you are international, you do need to go to Amazon, or you can get the Audible book on audible.com. It also is on Kindle. So go check that out. That's going to lay the foundation for what we're even talking about when we're saying strategic eating. You do need to go through the process of learning. So that's what I'm about here, Body Buddies. We are about getting educated. So without further ado, let's jump right in to answer these questions.
So one of the questions that came in, Carrie asked, how much cardio is too much cardio? Is there a place when too much cardio does more harm than good or hinders progress? I have a hard time going to the gym and doing less than 30 minutes of cardio. I feel like if I don't do at least 60 minutes, I didn't get a good workout, but in reality, is this maybe hindering my progress? Awesome question, Carrie. So here we go. Now I'm going to get all descriptive here. So BMR is your basal metabolic rate, okay? This is how many calories your body needs in order to just baseline function, okay? Baseline function with no extra output. Now, here is one of the problems that happens, especially in the diet world, okay? And that is, and I was victim of this for a long time, victim of this non-knowledge. So when let's say this is 30 minutes of cardio, okay? Let's say it's steady state cardio. Steady state cardio being heart rate stays the same. Now there is a really important thing here, which is if heart rate gets up over about 70%, now, so we take 220 minus your age. So I'll just use mine. So my max heart rate is 191, right? So I could take 191 times 0.7 equals my max heart rate. If I go over this number, so I'm going to say greater than that is going to be anaerobic. And then less than that number is going to be aerobic. Okay? So in anaerobic, we use glucose as fuel, which is all stored in your liver, right? So when that's like you're doing your high intensity, your HIIT training, which if you are truly doing a HIIT training program, you shouldn't be going much longer than 20 minutes. If you are doing intervals, there's a difference between HIIT and intervals. And intervals, you may be vacillating between anaerobic and aerobic. So you're using glucose for energy here, and you're using fat for energy here. This is where many people get confused, and there's a lot of controversy in the exercise world, which is, well, if you're only using fat down here, shouldn't you only be doing aerobic exercise at less than 70% of your max heart rate? No, because when you push your heart rate into the anaerobic, above that 70%, that's why I love the intensity 9 and 10, pushing. You know, what that does is the studies show it creates something called afterburn calories we are burning in, let's say, 20 minutes. They show that 20 minutes of HIIT burns far more calories in a 24-hour period. Hopefully, I don't know if you guys can see all of this, but I just wrote 24-hour period up here, where approximately the equivalent of 40-minute of steady will only burn in that window of time. So therefore, less time, more efficiency, a higher metabolic capacity here. So here is now where I can actually get to answer your question. So is it counterproductive? Is it hindering your progress to be doing more cardio than that? The problem is your body is adapting to that as its norm. So if you are doing 30 minutes consistently every day, then that is your body's, that's changing your basal metabolic rate. This is what creates a problem when women particularly are notorious for this. Men do it too. They push their calories low, okay? And so this is energy in, and energy out is very high. Okay, let's go like this. Energy in, okay, no. Here's a better way. This is what's coming in the body. So this is your food, your total caloric intake. Well, your output, how can I show this inverse relationship? Your output is here. This deficit, if pushed too extreme for too long, will cause your metabolism to go down. Stress. Okay? If you guys have listened to my podcast episode called Healthy Caloric Deficits, it is a must listen. It is crucial for you guys to understand all of this. It would have you eat a little bit more and have a little less output. So we are still putting the body in a deficit, but we are not overly stressing the body. That should be no more than 800 to 1,200 calories per day. So short answer to your question, Carrie, is it may be lowering your metabolic rate. The important thing to realize, though, is if you just suddenly stop doing all that cardio that you've been assimilating to for who knows how long, then you can't do that, because then all of a sudden your body's going to start storing more body fat. This is where I would take you through a reverse diet. Let me show you what a reverse diet is. A reverse diet, let's assume your exercise was still out here and your food was low, okay? We slowly add food while reducing your cardio. Slowly add food, reduce your cardio. So this deficit, slowly, week by week, strategically tapering, this repairs the metabolism. We hang out there for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then we we can start doing this again and start doing this again, but this time we find that the end goal to reach where the body will actually arrive at its desired body composition is not as extreme as before. It's very manageable. So therefore, then maintenance, once the desired body composition is achieved, I'm getting chalk all over my black pants. Once desired body composition is achieved, then the adjustment for maintenance can be a little less strict. For instance, I used to be a girl that thought if I did anything less than 60 minutes of steady state cardio a day, I was going to get fat. Point blank, that's what I thought. I can't tell you how many books I've read on cardio. And it has taken time. I am now at a point where I can maintain weight, eating strategically, eating about 1,800 calories per day, doing only 30 minutes of cardio per week. That's 3 10-minute HIIT sessions, and maintain weight. That would be unheard of in my prior eating. So, Carrie, what I think is important for you is to slowly start tapering it down, start integrating more HIIT. HIIT is difficult. Definitely. You have to focus your brain. You got to go for it. Like Shred Nation, Metabolic Bursts, go look on these plans. They have these little 10 to 15 to 20-minute hits where the intensity goes bop, 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 and give those a try. So you are not, you can have a very efficient workout in 30 minutes. You really can. It just depends on what your goals are. If you're not trying to particularly shape your body, you definitely can get it in 30 minutes. It's when we're trying to actually like sculpt our body that we need a little more time in resistance training. But if you're just someone that's like trying to feel good, have good moods, have good energy, connect with your body, feel good, 30 minutes is plenty. 5-minute warm-up, 5-minute abs, 10-minute lift, 10-minute Shred Nation, boom, get out of there, 30 minutes. So I hope that answers your question, Carrie. Yay, and Heather, you're here, awesome. Let's go ahead and answer your question next. So I'm scrolling down. All right, Heather had asked, protein powder. I need one that tastes good or tastes great. I've had a hard time buying it without trying it for fear it will be gross, best thing to mix it with, etc. This is why I recommend JDJ Nutrition. Give his Source 10 a try, either his chocolate or vanilla. It's very fine. It's not gritty. I've had 2 servings of it already today. I've had my 2 servings and it is so yummy. If you email him, he may be willing to sell you a sample of it before you try it. The problem is the sealing. Like if a package or a product isn't sealed, a consumer, to protect themselves, like who's to say that they can't be sued? So that's, I mean, he'd be open if you want to travel, you know, to go try his protein. But I have had so many people try it and love it. I would highly recommend JDJ Nutrition. Use my code BODBUDS to save 15% there. Mix it with cashew milk, almond milk, coconut milk, all of those unsweetened. I actually just do water. I don't need a creamer in it. But there's a lot of different ways, especially when you think in terms of our macronutrient categories. If you want to create a PVF meal, then you could just do like your protein powder as your P. Then you could do a tablespoon of almond butter or peanut butter. Make sure it's 100% natural. That could be your F. Now, if you add a cup of almond milk, this is where a lot of people aren't particularly understanding peak ranges. They often think, well, that's my fat. It's 3 grams of fat. It's not even close to a peak range. So if you have your tablespoon of peanut butter, which is 8 grams of fat, and your cup of almond milk, which is 3 grams of fat, that's 11 grams of fat total, meaning you're still in the peak range. Okay? So don't stress about adding the almond or cashew milk is my personal favorite. I think it's the yummiest, creamiest, unsweetened, non-dairy milk alternative to mix it with. And get creative. I mean, there's so many fun ways, and that's what we should be sharing those ideas. I don't own a blender. That's just a weird part about me. I don't really blend stuff. I'm a very simple, fast grab kind of gal. So if any of you guys are like doing these elaborate protein mixtures that are PVCs and PVFs, please share them in the group. That'd be so awesome. Heather also asked, what if you get hungry before the 2.5 to 3 hour mark? My first question, and realizing this isn't like a communication thing, so because there's a lot of people watching this, I'm going to talk through a few different aspects here. So first, we always have to come back to what is my goal? If my goal is to cut body fat, and I am already at a fit, healthy level, there may be a little bit of hunger you do need to endure. You should not be hungry when you are coming from anything over fit and healthy. Remember, our definition of fit and healthy is not a numerical thing. It's a muscle definition thing. If you can see distinct muscle definition through different areas of your body, you're at fit and healthy. And a lot of it, like, hello, define that yourself, right? So if you are trying to cut beyond that and you're trying to get like lean, shredded, there's a little bit of hunger that's part of the game that you got to get really good at dealing with. That's a mindset thing. If you are maintaining and you are hungry, either A, your portion sizes need to be bigger, or B, eat your next meal. I would say, though, make your portion sizes a little bit bigger. Maybe your peak range is like, let's say it's a PVF meal, and maybe you're only doing 4 egg whites, which is only 14 grams of protein. That's at our very low end. And then you're doing like 2 ounces of avocado, which is 8 grams of fat. So those are both at low ranges of our peak range. So maybe add some chopped up turkey breast, or maybe add some like 1 to 2 strips of bacon to that full meal of the 4 egg whites and the avocado. You just increase slightly the portions of protein and fat, making it a more robust, energy-filled meal to get you to the next meal time. So yeah, hunger, we do want to listen to that. First of all, congratulate yourself on having hunger. Many people are working and training their bodies to be able to feel hunger, and it's a really beautiful thing when you are able to listen to your body and recognize true hunger for what it is, and not a mental fixation on desiring to eat, which is typically a turning from our emotions and the thought patterns and stressors of the day. So true hunger, being able to feel that and recognize that, like, congratulations, that's a really good place to be and in tune with your body. And any problems with total body workouts, and I know you had brought this up before, I tend to do those 2 to 3 times a week as I run the other days, often training for a race or some sort. So awesome, you're doing a lot of endurance, steady state type racing. Well, and hopefully you're doing a little bit of intervals in there too, get your heart really strong. Upper and lower bodies, there's nothing wrong with them. Again, it all comes back down to what's your goal. If your goal is to really create a specific appearance with your physique, and you're trying to maybe boulder out your delts, you're trying to define your calves. If you're a runner, you need to be hitting your hamstrings. I cannot say that enough. All runners undertrain their hamstrings. You end up with knee problems because you're not hitting both sides. You'll see it. You'll see someone with super overdeveloped quads, and I don't know if you can see here. You don't get this bulge right here. It's just like flatty, flatty, flatty. And over time, that's going to shift your hips, your low back, and you're not going to be evenly balanced. So I'd really encourage you to still hit your hamstrings really well. Nothing wrong with them at all. And I do need to put more just upper and lower or full body exercise specifics. It's just, I've just been a sculptor. Just like that's my expertise, right? For so long as I sculpt people. And so, I mean, you still can sculpt, but I would say to hit every muscle group to get the volume on every muscle group, you need to truly break it down to sculpt it. And there's a difference between tone and sculpting and creating. We've got to really define that, because toning is a metabolic conditioning of a muscle. It's where, like, you can literally, let's just say this is like a muscle, okay? And it can just be soft and just unconditioned, and you push it and it's just squishy. But a metabolically conditioned muscle didn't necessarily change size. It didn't grow. It's still the same size, but when you touch it, it's firm, it's conditioned, it's at a higher metabolic capacity, meaning it has more ability to burn and function. It's like doing this inside rather than So yes, nothing wrong with those at all. Perfectly fine. I'm glad you're putting time into your resistance training in addition to your endurance running. Trisha asked, I would like to know what creatine does for the body, especially women. A guy at the health food store told me not to buy any because it will make me bigger, but couldn't offer me an explanation on why or how. I hate supplements, those people with all my heart. Just kidding. I love them. I wish I could sit down and train them. So here's what creatine does. Creatine is a naturally occurring, I'm not entirely sure what word to use, but it comes a lot of the time naturally through animal and meat proteins, okay? So what this does is in the body, it changes over to a molecule, creatine phosphate. And this goes into the muscle bellies, okay? And there's a certain storage capacity for it. And so whenever somebody adds creatine, it's because they're trying to max out the full capability of the muscle for holding this creatine phosphate. So in order to understand this, we have to go through, well, what is that going to feed into? What chemical structure is that? So it's going to feed into something called the ATP regeneration system. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate, which is the end result of a process involving ADP, adenosine triphosphate. All of that, to make it really simple for you guys, is what happens when you tax a muscle and you fatigue it and it's just like done. Oh, right now, my body is going zing, 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 zing. Let's take this down. Let's go through ADP. Let's make it ATP. Creatine, the creatine phosphate, feeds into this system to regenerate ATP. So if you are taking creatine and you are trying to max out the creatine in your muscle bellies to help yourself recover faster, meaning you get more lifts in, you get more sets in, more reps in. That's why they market it as bigger, stronger, faster, as many supplements. It's putting an extra little molecule in the system to plug and play in the formulaic ATP regeneration system so you can go again. So will it make you bigger? No. Do you need it, especially when cutting? No. Okay, the only time I would recommend somebody be on creatine is if they are purposefully trying to gain strength, gain size. That's it. Okay? And if someone isn't even lifting hard, and those aren't their goals, like it shouldn't even be in the vicinity of something they think about. So creatine needs to be out of the equation. Interesting thing. So creatine monohydrate, there's a few different types of creatine. Creatine monohydrate is known for causing the body to store a little bit of water. So that's known as the creatine bloat. And it's like the teeniest little microfilm of water, but it can be hyped up in the bodybuilding world and the body sculpting world as this awful, totally stupid thing. I have seen just a little bit of bloat when I have done it. I don't take it now. I haven't taken it in a year because I haven't been in a bulking reframing mode in a year. But women that I've bulked and reframed it to also talk about it. As for a loading, there is no need to load creatine. That's kind of old school bro science. So the typical way women, if you are reframing and building and see that this could be something that will help you, then 5 grams, 30 minutes before your workout every day. It's perfectly fine to take every day at 5 grams. That dosage, you do not need to cycle it. Men, I would say 8 to 10 grams, depending on your size. If you're under 6 feet, you could probably keep it close to 5 grams, 5 to 6 grams or so. So I hope that answers the question. It feeds into a chemical system for ATP. Is there a supplement for cutting, you asked, in addition? I'm going to say there are many things that have a micro participation in aiding the process. Little things like L-arginine, which help open up the arteries and help blood flow be a little bit more when you're lifting. That's actually on Snapchat today. I put a little photo I bought just at the grocery store. L-arginine and niacin. That's how I build my pre-workout stack, with glutamine and a little bit of caffeine. I don't buy pre-workout concoctions. I don't like taking all the crap that's in them. I like building my own stuff and knowing exactly what I'm putting in my body. So L-arginine is a good one. Here's the problem is I feel like every supplement is incorrectly marketed. And so there is not just one I would recommend. There is no fat burner I would recommend. I would recommend let food be thy medicine. Food will get you in the fat burning mode, and trust that, and you be nailing your HIIT training. You guys, I cannot emphasize enough the power of your high intensity interval training. So what happens when you do your HIIT is you are increasing the cardiovascular ability of your heart. You are raising the metabolic capacity of your entire body. You are burning more calories efficiently over a long duration of time. You are pushing yourself. You are getting in the habit and the mindset of push. So I really hope that you guys are all integrating a HIIT interval training session at least a minimum of 2 times per week. Shred Nation, memorize it. 20 seconds on, 40 seconds off. 20 seconds on, 40 seconds off. That's as easy as it is. I do it on the bike 3 times a week, okay? You're just sitting here. You ramp up your speed. You ramp up your resistance. You're just like boom, 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 boom. I sit next to 2 older men, and they're just like, here she comes. Here's her 10-minute craziness. And then I go talk to them. I don't talk to anyone when I do my HIIT, and then I'm done because I can breathe. And I'm like, whew. 20 seconds on, 40 seconds down, 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 down. I'm going like this. And I'm watching that clock. I'm like, son of a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 20 seconds on, 40 seconds off. And trust me, by the time you get to minute 6, you're going to hate my guts, and you better hate my guts for 4 more minutes because you got 4 more sets. Shred Nation, 2 to 3 times per week. Shannon says, question on lifting. How do you know how much you should lift? I did legs today, and I decided to push myself a bit and set it more heavy than usual. Awesome. I could barely walk on the treadmill afterwards because my legs just felt like jello, and I was a little bit scared I would fall. I would say, first of all, get off the treadmill, go to the bike. Next time I should try to do the HIIT first, then legs, or did I just lift too heavy? It did not feel like I was lifting too heavy while I was actually doing it just afterwards. Perfect question. So in an ideal world, we would actually be putting enough cardio on the other days that we would like leave leg day alone. However, I personally have never been of the mindset that I've never just lifted my legs. Some people do, and that's their prerogative. I like to push my legs, and I have strong legs because I'm a dancer, and I've done that for years. So what I would say to you, Shannon, is you could do your HIIT first, but if you do that, you need to eat a little bit more before you lift. We do not want to lift on emptiness, because if there's nothing in the tank to pull from and you're getting no strength, you're getting nowhere with your lifting, okay? It's something else you could do. I would say maybe consider just flip-flopping your days. Do your steady state cardio after leg day, and then do your HIIT cardio on your other, maybe some upper body days. I don't want to tell you went too heavy. I don't believe there is such a thing unless you tweaked something that perhaps you should have lightened the weight, gone a little slower, focus on more of our 2 to 2. Just to review, because I feel like I talk about this a lot, but I still feel like some people need this reiterated. A 2 to 2 tempo for any muscle group you're lifting. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. What's a 4 to 4? 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. It's very even tempo. And 1, 2. What about a 1 to 4? 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. What about? Those are my pretty typical ones. You can get into 1 to 8s. Those are eccentric motions. That's really going to pull the muscle. Here is a game changer, you guys. Let me double check that I answered Shannon's question, but I want to teach you guys this. If I haven't taught you this yet, get this down. It'll change your world in your training. When you contract any of your muscles, I just like to use this because it's here and it's very convenient, okay? When you contract your muscle, you do not just put the weight down. No. Think of it. This is your muscle fibers contracting. When you are lowering the weight, they are trying to pull against each other. Oh, it's like this. Here's your contraction. Pull against it to lower, so you don't just disengage. Disengaging would be like me chopping this in loose ends on both. Loose. So watch the difference. This is someone who just does it loose. Da, 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 da. Here's how Kristy Jo and all her body buddies train. This is tight. I'm shaking. These muscle fibers, it's like this is my fulcrum and this is getting stretched. And even at my maximal extension point, it is still taut. This is tight right now. It's not disengaged and loose. You train your whole body like that, you're going to feel it. So yes, hopefully that answered your question, Shannon. I think I nailed it all. You said, or do I need to just toughen up and quit being a sissy? I wouldn't say that. I would say you're doing great. Just perhaps readjust. Maybe go to the bike. Maybe do steady state instead of HIIT. Because it's really hard to do HIIT after a heavy leg day. So I hope that that's good. All right, good. Glad to get that. How to have a strong mind when those you love eat not strategically because it's the norm for them. Okay, so this is probably the last thought I'll be able to get to today. So I'm sorry this has to be so brief today, guys. When you are dealing with other people, the first thing you have to remember is you only have control over you, right? There is not one of us, myself included, that will go to any function or family or friend event and everyone will be eating strategically, unless, we just have a huge Body Buddies event, which may happen in the future. But it's not going to happen. So number one, it comes down to personal power. Do you live this lifestyle and make these choices for other people's validation, for other people to say good job, for other people to do it with you? When you can get to the point that you choose to eat and to do these things on a daily basis with no regard to what anybody else is doing, that is your ultimate goal. That only comes, though, as you have really looked inside and found your why. The other day, well, not the other day, this morning, I posted in Power Foods Lifestyle Champions about something that happened to me last night. I'm at this huge networking event at the National Speakers Association. And we're at the Lion House downtown in Salt Lake City, which is just known for its delicious cake and rolls, and it smells so amazing. And, you know, for a brief moment, I'm like looking around at everybody indulging and enjoying, and for a brief moment I thought, well, heck, I should enjoy and indulge too. Like, this is a fun thing, dinner's paid for, blah, 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 blah. You know, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? Why? What are your goals? And right now my goals are not necessarily body composition shifts. I mean, I'm trying to lean out a little bit for a photo shoot, but it's not really that needful. I'm happy. I'm very happy with my appearance. So it's not a body composition motivation. So then I have to look inside and say, okay, what do I know about the way food works in my body that I'm not going to ignore and pretend like I didn't know? Because that's called ignorance, and that's sometimes it's worse for us when we know something and we go against it. We see some correlations in other areas of our life, especially. So as you look at it, do you eat this way? Have you experienced the power yet of better sleep, of better moods, of better control over sugar? Have you experienced the power of feeling disciplined, feeling confident? Have you experienced better hair, better nails, better skin? What have you experienced that you can hold on to and say, that's my why? And if you haven't experienced a why yet, you need to keep pushing. And if you are still dealing with sugar cravings like crazy, I need you to stop being in a cut plan. And I need you to go to maintenance calories to enjoy the fullness of blood sugar balance and fullness of vitamins and minerals in your body. Cutting is hard. It is. And so perhaps bringing up the total caloric intake to help your body experience a little more balance and just enjoy eating strategically for the sake of how you feel. Then when you get really good there, then perhaps we can bring it back into a cut strategy. That's what develops more of these extremes of diet, can't do it, binge. Diet, can't do it, binge. And I don't want to see you guys get there, okay? Especially not after I've been through that. Find that balance for yourself of the total intake. What time of day do you perhaps need a double fat meal? Do you need a double protein meal? Whatever that be. And make it happen. Don't let fear of what your body's going to do or not going to do get in your way. What your body is going to do and not going to do is going to be a bigger problem if you go from extreme to extreme to extreme to extreme. So number one way to start getting over your sugar addiction, if you haven't done my 10-day power up yet of straight up getting the carbs out and slowly introducing them back in, that's a good thing to do. But I'd also say start eating more. Eat more PVF meals, eat perhaps PVCF meals, perhaps eat PVFF meals. And that's going to be when you experience a little more satiety. Know your why. And if you haven't experienced your why yet, that is your challenge this week that you need to figure out. Okay? Drop some comments below. When I'm home in about an hour, I'll be able to come back in and answer questions, but I do have to leave. They're shutting down the library. So thank you. These have been a really great questions. I hope this has been helpful in learning, continuing to grow in the way we look and think. And it's learning how to process thoughts, isn't it? It's learning, like, I'm teaching you a new language of how to think and do that. And so you're doing a great job learning the language. So you guys are awesome. Drop your comments below. I'll answer them in a little bit. Okay, how are your body? One meal, one workout, one day at a time.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review on iTunes. You can learn more about Body Buddies and Power Foods Lifestyle by going to www.body-buddies.com, BODY-BUDDIES.com, and powerfoodslifestyle.com. That's www.POWERFOODS-lifestyle.com.
Information in this episode is provided for informational purposes and is not meant to substitute the advice provided by your own physician or other medical professional. Information and statements regarding dietary supplements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.